What's up, guys? So I've been just building this prone foil board, and I actually have been just shooting some video, and I just shot a segment on this board about Additive F. Then I got thinking that it's probably a topic that's important enough or interesting enough that I'm gonna make a separate video. So I'm just shooting this right now as the intro for this next segment that I already shot earlier. So I hope you guys find it interesting. Or let's cut to that. All right, it's the next day. It's like 7 a.m. in the morning. The board did come out beautiful, as I mentioned after I pulled the tape. However, there's a minor, I'll call it minor, there's an issue. And the issue is I didn't use Additive F on this coat, on this last gloss coat. Because what I've been finding with Additive F is this stuff here that you add in with the Resin Research Epoxy is it's causing little bits of paraffin that are in this to come out of suspension. Even though I've kept this garage in the 20 degrees Celsius range. I've kept it super warm, so this waxy Additive F, right now it's liquid, but when it's not liquid, this can become like a solid block of a paraffin or some type of wax. And this is a surfacing agent that helps the epoxy smooth, wet out. It just really makes the epoxy flow and cure well without any. So the issue that I'm having now, as I've noticed today, is that it's got this greasy film on it. And I'll show a close up, but there's fingerprints all over it and my hands are clean. And that's this film of what they call blush, amine blush, I think. Regardless, it's caused by when the air is a little bit humid or some environmental factors that makes the epoxy have this weird kind of greasy film. And that's okay, because you can wash it off, but it's really important to wash it off if you need to add another layer of epoxy on top of that. So for my hot coat, my first hot coat, what I was able to do was I used Additive F, and I didn't actually have any of this blush, but I have a love-hate relationship with Additive F. This stuff I find over the years using it, and I thought I had like a batch go bad, but I hadn't noticed it in some of my first boards that I made like, I don't know, 10 years ago, is that the little bits of paraffin in this come out of suspension. And right now it's liquid, so you can't really see the paraffin, but when the temperature drops below, I don't know, like 15 degrees, this starts becoming like a solid block of wax. Now, what makes this stuff so great, Additive F, is a surfacing agent. It makes the epoxy flow, and it prevents blush and bloom from happening in epoxy. And you can look up what those terms mean. I can't speak to them that well. I just know that this is one of the issues. I didn't use it for the gloss coat because the wax comes out of suspension and it causes little pits. So when you sand, even though it's mostly smooth, you get these little dots everywhere, and they're like little tiny voids because the wax then gets out of the little hole, and then you're left with all these pits, and it's not great. So yeah, I have a love-hate relationship with this, so I've stopped using it for my final coat. But what ends up happening is you get this blush that can be washed off with water. So I'll show a close-up of like my fingerprints and stuff, because it's got this real greasy feel to it, and you think that the epoxy hasn't fully set up yet. I don't know if you guys have had any issues with this, or your experience using Additive F. I'd be curious. Post a comment down below, because I'd like to hear other people's experience with this stuff. People swear by this. Some people don't swear by it. The other thing is, by not using this, it also causes the epoxy to get these little tiny cracks, like tiny minuscule cracks, which do for the most part sand out, because when I did the longboard that's hanging up in the ceiling, I had the same issue. But anyways, I thought I would just make a comment about this. So right now this feels really greasy. All you need to do is just take some water. Ideally, I would just take this outside and just hose it off, but spray a little water down. Ideally, wash it with some soap if you're going to actually put additional coats of epoxy down, because you don't want this when you're sanding in with the epoxy, so that might cause adhesion issues. But there, I washed that, and now it doesn't have that greasy feel anymore. But over here, it's got this real greasy feel. Anyways, that's Additive F. Thought I would add that little tidbit of this little issue I'm having. Yeah, so post a comment down below if you've you've run across the same thing. Oh, and now it's time to sand. Alright, so I hope you found that segment about Additive F interesting. Like I said, post a comment below. Also, I stuck the Additive F outside, and in that period of time of a couple minutes of just me talking and shooting that segment, here it is, all solid. Well, almost solid. But you can see there that the Additive F is indeed like solid, and that's that paraffin or wax that comes out of suspension. Anyways, hope you enjoyed this video. This prone foil board is coming along beautiful. Track box is great. I know someone asked a question about the track box and they're interested in how I installed this. I'll include it in the main video, but I might make a separate video specifically on this, since this is such a new emerging activity, sport, hobby. Alright, I'm going to end the video here. More videos about this particular board will be coming soon, and I do plan on making a stand-up paddle board for the Hydrofoil that I purchased earlier in the year. I did a separate video about that from AliExpress. Yeah, so hope you enjoyed this video. I will catch you guys in the next one.